Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. And today, we're tackling together the 2025 body horror flick, directed by Michael Shanks in his feature debut. And starring real-life couple Dave Franco and Alison Brie, this movie is a twisted blend of romance, codependency, and some seriously grotesque horror that really had me squirming in my seat. So if you want to understand this horror romance, then stick around, because we're breaking it all down. But first, let's get a quick non-spoiler overview. Actually Together follows Tim and Millie, a couple at a crossroads in their relationship. They've been together for years, but things are stagnant, like no spark, no intimacy, and Tim's chasing unrealistic dreams as a musician, while Millie supports them both as a teacher. Then they have to move to a remote countryside home for a fresh start, but a bizarre incident during a hike changes everything. And what starts as subtle weirdness escalates into full-blown body horror, forcing them to confront their emotional and physical bonds in horrifying ways. And it also got Cronenberg vibes with practical effects that are both impressive and nightmare-inducing, plus there's a dash of dark comedy. So if you love films like The Thing or The Substance, this one might attract you. And this movie premiered at Sundance in January 2025 and hit theaters on July 30th. It's got an icky, metaphorical take on relationships, which might make you rethink about your next date night. Alright, so if you haven't seen it yet, then pause here and go watch it first, because there will be full spoilers ahead. Okay, so we start with Tim and Millie packing up for their countryside move. And as I have said earlier, their relationship is on the rocks, like no intimacy, and Tim's immature rock star fantasies clashing with Millie's practicality. Then during a hike, they fall into a creepy cave during a rainstorm and take shelter overnight. And feeling thirsty and desperate, Tim drinks from a strange pool of water inside. Then the next morning, their legs are mysteriously stuck together, but they brush it off after separating. But back home, things get weird fast. Like Tim starts having erratic episodes, where he's physically drawn to Millie like a magnet, even dragging himself across town to be near her. And this leads to some intense moments, like a steamy bathroom stall hookup at Millie's school, where again their parts get stuck together. And trust me, it's equally awkward and horrifying. Then they meet Jamie, Millie's co-worker and neighbor, who seems friendly, but drops hints about the cave being the site of an abandoned church or cult. But as time passes, the fusions worsen, like arms merging and skin sticking. Then Tim visits a doctor and learns about a missing hiker couple who vanished in the area. And then he connects the dots using social media photos, which shows the same cave symbols. And medicine's help was temporarily, because one night, their arms fully fuse, and Millie has to saw through the conjoined limb with a buzzsaw to separate them. Really, the practical effects here are top-notch. Then desperate Millie heads to Jamie's house for her forgotten keys, while Tim sneaks back to the cave. And here's where the big reveals hit. Like at Jamie's house, Millie finds a home video of two men in a ritual. They slice their wrists, press them together, and merge into one being. Then Jamie confesses that he's the result of a fused ex-cult member, living in harmony as one person. Then he urges Millie to embrace the process with Tim, saying resistance leads to a more unpleasant fate. And when she fights back, Jamie slashes her arm, but she escapes after knocking him out. Meanwhile, in the cave, Tim discovers the missing hikers, Simon and Carrie, twisted into a grotesque, mutant monstrosity, and the horrific result of fighting the merge. And it's a nod to not accepting the fusion, turning them into something nightmarish instead of harmonious. Then back home, Millie's bleeding out from her wound. And Tim is ready to sacrifice himself by slitting his throat to free her, and professes his love. But Millie passes out, and in a desperate move, Tim fuses his arm into her wound to stop the bleeding. And after realizing that fusion is inevitable, they embrace fully while listening to the Spice Girls 2 Become One, and thinking about their first date. Then they merge into a single androgynous entity peacefully, unlike the hiker's abomination. And the film ends with this new being greeting Millie's parents at the door, now marked with the cave symbol. And really, it's ambiguous, but implies that they've achieved a twisted harmony, sacrificing individuality for eternal unity. So at its core, Together is a metaphor for attachment in relationships. And the body horror represents how love can consume you, erasing boundaries until you're literally one. And Tim's initial neediness turns physical, forcing them to confront autonomy versus togetherness. And Jamie's successful fusion shows acceptance leads to peace, while resistance creates monsters, like the hikers. Then it also got cult undertones, with the cave's water tied to a ritualistic group, believing in transcendence through union. And the androgynous ending touches on themes of identity and transgender allegory, blending horror with emotional depth. And the film's don't tell approach avoids heavy lore dumps, keeping the focus on the couple's journey. It's grotesque yet romantic, proving love sometimes means sawing off limbs or merging souls. Well, I really don't know what it means. For me, Together is a wild ride that fuses horror and heart in ways I didn't see coming. So what did you think of that ending? Did they really find true happiness, or is it a fate worse than death? Drop your theories in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe for more movie explanations.